Is that land I see just ahead? Oh, yes. I do believe it's Hot Springs Island. And Discord? Greetings.
Greetings.
Hello.
Does anyone recall where we last left off?
Running away from a big boar in a cave.
We ran away.
Precisely. So Robbie was screaming and running out of the cave, which is always a good idea. And then Daniel, being the amazing bird that he is, went back to go check to see that, oh yeah, there's a big boy.
Big scary boy.
Big scary mans. It is approximately 8 p.m. We are outside the dire boar den. As mentioned, it moved up, sharpened its tusks, and then went back to the corner. Ball's back in your guys' court. What do we do?
We die.
The storm died down at this point, yeah, right?
Very much so, yes. If anything, it is only sprinkling. It is still 8 p.m., but sprinkling.
We're also done with this cave, so we can continue on our way, I guess.
Yes, well, done with the cave, quotation marks, but
I don't think we've seen everything in the cave, but
no, there's probably something in the north, but
yes, and
sun is in. I don't want to go back in.
Pretty much, yes.
To be relatively clear, obviously, as I mentioned before, biomes of places change. So yeah, you guys mark it on your map. Come back later. The boar won't always be here.
Well, if we're not going in the cave, do we want to search this hex more?
we did just have a long rest, so probably yes. Unless we want to keep on going to the other side of the island at 8 at night, which is
Can
not
you put us
a
back
great
on the
idea.
Hex Hub?
You can move yourself to it. That's what I did.
Myself.
You very much can, yes.
I'm not that smart.
You just click the hex island. What do you mean?
Oh, just make sure you don't double click it, otherwise it starts crying at you.
Does it? Now I want to
Yeah.
try it.
If you double click it, you are trying to move everyone over to that scene.
Oh,
You don't have permission for that.
how dare.
I love how I'm just like collecting all my NPCs in the corner.
Are those ogres with money bags?
Those are rocks.
What?
Yes, those are money bags.
Some neat money.
They could
They
be
have,
rocks full of money.
Ogre money.
Rocks.
Damn, they
Yeah,
took the
rocks
time to
are
carve
open.
out rocks to use them.
Yeah, those are actually
money holder.
precisely. They're perfectly like you can see the wrinkles and the like the stitching and the oh god, the hell's it called? Like the what is it called? Like the sack? What are those only made of? Like back in the day?
Fuck, I'm trying to get the name. I can't
Yeah.
remember what it is now.
Not like linen. It has a really specific
no.
name. Yeah,
In Dutch, it's called jute at least, but
it's called Ute.
jute.
That is exactly what I'm talking about. See, I love you know it in your language. That is precisely what I'm looking at.
I
Is it
know the
hemp?
word in... No,
Hemp.
it's not hemp.
Hemp is close, yes.
It's not hemp, though.
No, it's not, but it's close.
I know what it is in English, I just can't remember it.
I mean,
I know this
yeah.
thing, but I don't know it.
Yeah. Sometimes called kanaf, hemp, flax, or ramie. I wasn't thinking of ramie, that's for sure. Alright, anyway, sorry. Alright, we all walk away from the boar den, just kind of relaxing, looking about, slightly sprinkling, but the forest seems to be quiet.
Well, it's late at night, so traveling probably isn't the best idea. We can spend another hour or 4 hours searching for the next thing, I guess.
Works
Alrighty.
for me.
Is that the plan? Gonna
Looking around.
move about to look around. All right, sounds good, sounds good. The three of you move about. It'll be approximately midnight. Of course, we're being as careful as we possibly can be, as we're essentially scooting through the jungle.
The fun part is I can now say Daniel is looking for the next thing in the hex, and it's true.
Indeed. I'm doing my best. The three of you come across the ogre money bags that Sarabi was so excited to find. We find a roughly semicircular clearing that looks to have been recently cut from the jungle. There are large stumps that dot the area, but none of the fallen trees remain, and all of the undergrowth looks like it was freshly hacked back. There's a large mound of dirt and boulders that stand at the center of this clearing, with approximately 5-foot wide trench running a U-shape around from east to west. So actually, this is almost a perfect picture. Conveniently, that's almost exactly what it looks like. You guys can see this pretty easily from the distance. It stands out, as I mentioned, all the trees down were cut. They just... And of course, from this distance, you guys can see a few ogres moving about. They have some torches with them, but they're mostly just kind of looking and doing the thing.
Damn, we need Tusk. So we don't get attacked.
We can just ignore them.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
can ignore them. We know they're there.
I can have Daniel take a closer look if you want to, but I don't think there's anything super important there.
I mean, he can take a look around if you want him to, I guess.
Can't hurt for a quickie.
Yeah, sure. Let's just say we'll keep on walking and Daniel can check it out.
As Daniel gets closer, you notice there are approximately 6 ogres here, and they seem to be on guard. But they're not guarding anything necessarily here, they're looking around. You can tell they're actually looking towards the volcano range, and they're also looking towards west of this location. So they're primarily guarding from both west and south. This, if anything, seems to be like a watch point or a lookout. And since the whole area is cleared around them, they can see anyone approaching very easily. They glance up towards Daniel, but realistically pay him no mind.
So I guess we keep moving forward.
Well, we're trying to get south, so
Yeah,
straight left.
South is probably the volcano, right?
Yeah, so we probably want to
we-
go left.
Yeah, we got to go around it.
Also, yes, to be incredibly clear, the hex directly south of here is going to be horrible. So you guys would go there very much knowing that is Farku's camp, basically. And there's no way around that.
Yes.
Nice.
No, up there, straight up sea. So I guess we'll go to the east then.
The west.
The opposite of east.
West.
West, precisely. Alrighty, our group moves further to the west. I almost said east, thank you. I had to think real hard about that one.
Brain no worky.
Oh my god, brain completely ruined. Just throw it in the trash at this point.
Just say west, you can't be wrong.
True, yeah. I say west, you guys, did you mean west? Yes, did you mean east? Precisely. Primarily, your guys' surroundings aren't really changing too much. You guys are still very much in the heavy jungle section of Hot Springs Island. At various locations, similar to that mound where the ogres were at, of course, where the dire boar was hiding. Locations like that, you guys, occasionally see the area lit up a little bit. Let me reveal the boar in all of its wonderful glory. Or its wonderful bory. You're welcome. That's what I'm here for. This seems to be the same thickness, if you will. And looking about before you guys reach your destination, you hear some wriggling about in the woods. Pausing for a moment, we can tell that it is just 2 boars. They're just looking about, kind of sniffing, looking around some more, and moving eastward. Paying you guys no mind. And the primary location we come up to is a very large, dead bone tree. It stands in a small hillock. I don't know what a hillock is, but I'm going to Google that shit in a second. With a clear view of the sea. Its branches, trunk, and much of the surrounding ground are covered in thick loops of vines. Large white bones are scattered throughout this area.
That's a death trap. I don't want to go around it.
Why not? Looks cute.
All right, a hillock is a small hill or a mound.
Yes.
So it's a hill.
Yeah, basically a small hill.
It's a hill that's basically.
Yeah, a hillet.
Go around it. I'm not
Yes.
interested.
As you guys do so, you notice the boars actually they're keeping their distance from this thing.
Oh, yep. Trust the boars.
Yeah, most not looking
Trust
around.
the
The bulls will not lead you
And then
astray.
Daniel.
Daniel dies.
That's
Looking.
fine. I can resummon him.
Yeah, I'll buy a new one.
Yeah.
I mean, you basically do. You have to buy the stuff to summon him.
Daniel's are a diamond dozen. It's fine.
Oh,
Wow.
I'm sad.
Damn.
Canonically, he doesn't actually die. He just disperses for a second.
This is true. I won't cry every time he dies. Just completely
time.
over the top. This time. Next time, though, I'm going to make you feel real bad. Because that's what I do. Looking about,
He's
though,
gone forever.
you guys once again hear some shuffling as Sarabi, you're very clearly trying to avoid this. And you think hear a voice, and then whoever this voice is kind of clears their throat and then speaks out and says, "Hello?"
Who's there?
Oh, great. It's not one of them.
You see an individual sort of push himself through some bushes with his hands up. He very clearly means you guys no harm. He's young. He looks like he has a pretty strong build. He has black, wavy hair, a very patchy beard, and brown eyes. He's closest to you, Sarabi. As you were backing away from this tree, he was actually in the direction that you were backing towards.
This is still day 6, right? Or is it day 7 now?
We're actually we just at day 7.
Please don't eat the young man we just met.
Is he pleasant to look at?
Yes, he is. From what you can tell, he indeed has a cutlass on him, but it is sheathed. His hands are up. He actually put no, I know the word. I want to say satchel. It isn't a satchel. A blank bag on the floor. What the hell? It's not linen. It's not hemp. This word's going to... I'm going to die not knowing what this word is.
Cotton?
No, not cotton.
Ute?
Not ute. Yeah, technically ute. Okay, whatever. He puts a satchel on the floor. And he's just kind of looking at you, and his eyes jump between the three of you. And he says, I mean you no harm.
I'm going to sidle up to him and do that little finger stroke down the chest thing and go, ooh, what's your name?
He looks at your finger and kind of...
I walk away.
Yeah.
I'm leaving.
He presses his teeth together for a second, trying to kind of like hide a smile, and he can tell you clearly mean him no harm. And he says, my name is Reuben.
Reuben? That's nice. I'm Sarabi, the little guy's Lekka, and the one who's walking... Aldrin, where are you going? Come back here!
No way. I just keep
that's
walking.
Aldrin. He's a bit of a prude.
He,
Wow.
He starts to laugh a little at that, actually, seeing Aldrin just... you guys' little dynamic here. He's like, okay, there's a thing going on. Awkward question, I guess, but what brings you here?
A boat.
Adventure.
And he kind of like rolls his eyes like, shit, yeah, dumb question, right? Sorry, I've been here a while. I don't recognize the three of you. When did you guys arrive?
Yeah, about a week ago.
A week ago.
He's nodding and kind of thinking to himself, like, does that line up? Yeah, I guess, okay. He says,
how long have you been here?
Slightly longer.
How much is slightly?
I'm going to be honest, I've, partially lost track of time, but hopefully not too much longer. I do hope to get off the island. So far from what we've seen, it's essentially impossible.
Well, then you should stick with us, and we'll get off in no time. We are kind of on our way to the Lizard Men, though, because we gotta do some things first.
His eyes widen at that. Which ones?
Excellent question.
Preferably the ones that aren't aligned with generally points in the direction of the volcano.
Good point. We're attempting to help the ogres. Please tell me you like the ogres.
He gives you a look of like, I can take him or leave him. And he picks that satchel back up and kind of rests his hand on the hilt of his blade and says, they're interesting folk. I've not really read into them too much. They seem fairly smart. I'll be honest, they're kind of scary. A little intense for my taste.
Yes, they're intense. They're also kind of very smart. So totally understandable.
Yes,
Honestly, if you meet people three times bigger than you daily basis, you get used to it. They aren't that scary.
He has a laugh at that, Lekka. And he's sort of walking with you guys, but you can tell you guys are kind of moving to the west. He's sort of leading you southwest. I said west-south. Good old west-south. My brain wanted to say west first really badly. Yes, we're going west-south, as you do. And this is sort of the direction he was already going, and he kind of ran into you, Sarabi, and says, well, it's rather early. Do you guys know your way around?
Nope. Where are you going? Can we come along?
Can
I come along?
God.
I assume you don't want to break your...
Space bombs.
I don't hear this, but just out of game, like, why?
I'm assuming you don't want to break up your party, so the three of you are more than welcome to come with. We're actually about to start a breakfast, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Excellent.
I could use some real cooking.
He essentially completely ignores that and continues heading southward. We're going to stay in the same hex, of course, but we're maybe a 5-10 minute walk from where you guys first started. He leads you into a very interesting, sort of secluded location. The ground dips... Yes?
Can I incite him real quick?
Oh, what are you inciting?
I just want to make sure he's trustworthy.
You can kind of get a first glance on him. Yeah, sure.
Like
Get a vibe
language.
check.
Yeah. Body language.
Wow, that was a bad... I'm hungry. I'm sorry.
Fair. Well, in general, in terms of body language, he seems fairly unthreatening. He's not really wearing, hardcore armor. His clothes look like they've definitely seen better days.
I mean, obviously.
Yes. He leads you guys down into somewhat of an alcove. There's an overhang of vines and various trees and such that look like they were kind of cut away and then sort of moved. He actually pushed them to the side. They almost look like the hanging vines, the dangerous ones that y'all ran into before, but these are completely limp. He's able to push them over to the side and kind of motions for the three of you to follow with, and like I said, doesn't seem threatening whatsoever, Sarabi.
Aren't those vines the ones that eat people?
Kind of winks and says, precisely. They look like them, don't they?
A little too much, yes.
And he gives them a fair pat and says, if they ate people, I'd be dead.
Okay, I'll follow.
Maybe one day.
What?
What?
Following in, you guys find this alcove that essentially has been hiding. Instantly, you hear someone stand. You hear the telltale sort of shift of a scaled mail, and a figure sort of pops his head around the corner, weapon in hand. He too is wielding a scimitar. He also has a buckler, and he kind of has the shield outward, and then the weapon drawn and ready until he sees Reuben.
What's a buckler?
Little shield.
A baby shield.
Baby. Reuben kind of doesn't look like we're good. Don't worry about it. And this other individual takes a couple steps back, and seeing the three of you enter, he sort of narrows his eyes like, okay. And you all enter what seems to be effectively a small makeshift home. There is a bed. There is a table that's large enough for guests. They have various shelves and such that are full of just food. You see some plants you guys sort of recognize, some dried powder, some dried plants, some dried meats are hanging, things of that nature. They've probably been hiding here for a little while. This individual you guys run into has a light brown skin, black hair, dark eyes, and what was probably once a very well-groomed mustache that seems to have been swallowed by his shipwrecked beard. He is wearing a fine scaled mail tunic, and upon closer inspection, I would say, Aldrin, you would probably notice this first, primarily because you're covering your family crest, that is. He has what seems to be the insignia of a holy order that is very clearly torn off.
Oh boy.
Approximately the same location where you actually kept your family crest. He sheathes the scimitar, kind of puts the buckler down, and just kind of decides and says, a warning would be nice. And Reuben goes, sorry. Turning to the three of you, says, I would like the three of you to meet my husband, Benjamin.
God damn it.
Plan ruined.
He looks at you, Sarabi, and
Lekka's just laughing at this point.
I wasn't out loud, by the way.
Reuben pats you on the back and says, sorry, apologies. You are quite nice to look at, though. Just not my taste.
My kitsune, I need to eat.
Trust me.
Is one of you bi? Please tell me one of you is bi.
Not currently in an open relationship, sorry.
Shit.
You're not going to explode, are you?
No.
All right,
Acts like she might.
I might get a little ravenous over here.
Ben laughs and says, well, I think you can contain yourself then.
Speaking of, good sir, you look like you're in need of a shave.
Potentially, but I'm sure as you can possibly guess.
I'm gonna whip out a razor. Would you like to borrow mine?
Is that a threat?
Not entirely sure how to think about that. Just kind of looking at you like...
I mean, you effectively just pulled out a knife on him, so, you know.
It is a high quality tool.
It looks recently sharpened. I guess I wouldn't mind borrowing it. You sure are being nice for a folk you just now met.
Yes?
Fair enough. And he kind of holds his hand out to take it.
All right, I'm gonna ask, have you met anyone named Charlie on this island?
God, I'll be honest, we've run into quite a few folk. Not all of them survive, which is, well, unfortunate. But, honestly, I think we've seen one kid not too long ago that we ran into. Somewhat panicked, was slow to trust. He wasn't really willing to talk to either of us. It was a while ago, though. Maybe,
Did he have a
month ago?
red hair? He had red hair, right?
Sandy blonde hair.
Did he have sandy blonde hair?
Thinks to himself for a second, says, you know what, he might have, yeah.
Yeah, could be.
All right, well, the island's not that big, so he could be anywhere.
Oh, yeah. From what I gathered, he was, sticking to himself, but he looks to Reuben and says, not the smartest. You gotta find a partner, gotta find someone. I wouldn't recommend anyone run around this island alone. You're asking for a quick death.
Agreed.
Yeah. Or you'll end up like Dale.
Is Dale that first man we met?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one that was beating the rats up, yes.
Yes, he did seem a little crazy.
What do you mean he's fine?
I mean, I'm not sure I can define slamming a bag full of rats to death fine.
What do you mean?
I mean, he could have been worse.
I guess.
It's fine.
Yes, we should definitely have a sliding scale of NPCs. Whoever's the craziest, like, oh, at least he's not a Reuben.
Are you implying Ruben's crazy?
No, he seems perfectly sane. So does Benjamin. They both seem relatively chill. They're definitely a little dirty. Their clothes, they're attempting to keep them as clean as possible, in order to survive dirt.
Oh, now I'm gonna have to leave a bar of soap with them. Damn it!
Well, they're doing their best.
You've guilted
Like I
me
will
into
walk up and prestidigitate both of them.
Does it actually clean, or does it just make it look like clean?
It makes their filth go away, I think.
I think it actually cleans, yeah.
Excellent. Very cool.
Again, you instantaneously clean or soil an object no longer than 1 cubic foot.
You'll have to clean them.
So
in
I'm pretty
sections.
sure
Very
the
cool.
cloth itself is less than a cubic foot, but at the same time.
Yeah, I would say a few castings of this, depending on how much they're wearing, should clean them up fairly quickly. So you see various dirt smudges and such just kind of fade away as you reach your magics out toward them, Lekka. They both look to you and kind of nod and go, oh, good. Thanks, we've been actually, washing our clothes somewhat infrequently. Yeah, the ocean water doesn't really work all too well, all the salt.
Yeah.
There are various springs,
That's
but
why
you
I
gotta be
wear
careful.
nothing more than this.
Smart,
And
actually.
he pointed himself, wearing like baggy, leathery clothes.
Benjamin moves over to a functional mirror and sort of begins to shave and get back down to that real spiffy stash that he had. You see Reuben pulling down some dried meats. He begins to sort of get a fire ready, and he has a really interesting, I forgot what it's called, not like a flue, but a disposal for the cast off of the fire. It's kind of pushed up into the wall, and you can tell that this chimney effectively flows outward at a slight angle outward from their current location, and goes and goes and goes and goes and goes and goes, and most likely shoots out somewhere else fairly far away, so it's not shooting straight up and revealing their location. As he cooks up some pretty hefty looking eggs, actually. I'd say they're about the size of an ostrich egg, approximately. Yeah, pretty big.
Zippered eggs?
One of these might be, yeah. Do you have a preference?
I haven't eaten one of them yet, I think.
I'll try anything as long as it's not poisonous.
Unless you're allergic to eggs and boar meat, no, should be fine. They get some food prepared. Benjamin sort of cleans up, and you can tell upon closer inspection that he very, very much rushed his armor on. He finishes like clasping everything and clipping what he can. He takes a seat, as does Reuben. They're kind of chilling next to each other, and they motion for the three of you to sit down. There's like 4 or 5 open chairs.
That's a lot of empty chairs.
There was a lot left over.
Ooh, wait, you mean was this a previous camp from someone else?
Kind of gives you the whole hand wiggle of like, I hope you don't mind if we ask, the 3 of you a few questions, maybe? You all seem fairly nice.
Sure. I'm all about give and take.
What brings you here?
I already answered that. Adventure.
Just adventure?
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, do you mean this part of the island or the island in general?
Both, I guess.
I mean, uncharted land. No one knows what's here. Adventure.
Honestly, money.
Yeah, both kind of.
A little bit of adventure, I guess.
Kind of
Exploration,
nod at that, like, yeah. And, well, I assume it wasn't a boat that you all owned, and it was on a boat. Were you shipwrecked? You were intending to come here? Were you guys trying to go to a different island and, well...
Oh no, definitely intended to come here.
Fully intended.
Been here
And the
once
boat's
before.
fine. You're welcome to go meet the captain. She is, let's see.
Willing to accommodate you.
16 hours approximately southeast.
Yeah, we do tend to move about a bit. We might pay her a visit. Do you mind if I ask her name, if she's affiliated with any organizations?
Ma Martel?
Martel Corporation.
They both give a slow nod, kind of look at each other and look back to you and go, oh.
Are you familiar with that name?
Yes. She's with the Martel company?
They have
Yep.
a reputation.
The Ma Martel?
Yep.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'm sure you can guess what she's doing here.
One could venture to guess. And I guess with that, we do have something to share with you now. Weirdly enough, we actually have the same story as you guys. Except, she didn't come with us.
What, she funded it?
Effectively, we both worked in the past for the Martel Corporation.
Makes sense. She does tend to send things over, send people places. They don't always return.
Benjamin points to Ruben and says, he used to be one of her staff, if you will. You were, shipwrecked on the civilian transport, right? They weren't intending to come to this island, were they? Ruben shakes his head, and no, they weren't. And Benjamin says, well, my story is relatively similar. I wasn't in the same boat, but let's just say I was trying to turn over a new leaf and ended up here. He and I found each other, and, well, the rest is history.
Right, so Ma's been at this place for a while. I don't suppose she hates you, because she'll probably welcome extra hands.
Oh, I'm sure she would, but Ruben probably has some choice feelings about her. And Ruben's like, I've mostly let it go, but yeah.
Well, no matter how you feel, when we leave, we're leaving with her. So keep that in mind.
Honestly, I'll bury the hatchet if that's how we get out of here. We still kind of do. It really depends on, time of day. Gotta check the area. Lighting fires for quite some time. Not to burn the island down, of course, but to get attention. And we did, from quite a few of the different, folk here. So we've kind of slowed down a little bit with that. Obviously, doing it on the beach side didn't really lead to any hope or help. We didn't see any of the, ships or anything, but at least ships from folk like yourselves. To go back to your earlier topics, Sarabi, you said you were trying to speak with the lizardmen?
Yeah. The ogres are looking for allies to attack Savarku. And we're pretty sure Savarku is the reason why this island is trapped. So he needs to go.
Yeah, he's not helping, that's for sure. Question. How much were you told about the lizardmen?
Not much.
Secret of an underself, apparently.
Do you know anything about their clans?
No.
Nope.
Fair enough.
Just kind of thrown to the wind, sink or swim.
Fair. Let's say things are complicated with them. I mentioned that the few we ran into were a little intense for our tastes. We can give you this little bit of information, and
Please give us everything you can. Much appreciated.
Of course. Before we do, you guys are here just for adventure? Just for the sake of it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Do I look like I fit here? Look at my bag. I have soap, I have perfume, I have ink and paint and paper. I don't belong here.
Yeah, you had a razor ready upon seeing, he motions to his face.
Very much. Like
Isn't it nice?
Yeah, he kind of rubs his cheek, and then Ruben kind of gives him a little touch. He says, smooth for once. Yes, nice. He says, I do appreciate it, Sarabi. I don't claim to be an expert on them or anything, but they're, as I mentioned before, the ogres we thought were a little intense. The lizard folk are a bit above that. Not overtly hostile, at least not all of them. They don't make friends easily, unless you have a very particular, I'll say, type of personality.
What type?
Some of the ogres I've seen probably would get along with them pretty well. Hyper-aggressive, very gusto. They're quite strange. They very much dwell in combat.
Definitely not
Different
me.
from the one we met.
I think Aldrin
Right,
could have
that
faked it
makes
though.
sense.
To my knowledge, like I said, don't quote me on this. Gonna be honest, I'm not one to speak with them. I don't want to get myself killed. He and I'd like to survive for as long as we can and get off this damn island. But from what I've seen, there are 3 tribes. The Goa, they're the primary lizardmen you're probably going to run into. They're relatively, like I said, brutal, but there is a sense to their violence from what I've seen. They don't just go around killing people. The ones you need to worry about, though, are I think they're called the Arva, right? And he looks at Ruben and says, kind of like, I think that's how you pronounce it. Says, yeah. To my knowledge, you see the Goa have dark green scales. Very much, glory, combat, a little much for my taste. The Arva, whatever rituals they have, apparently if you can't handle it, or if you fail for whatever reason, if they kick you from their community, what we've gathered, they paint black swirls and such on their scales. So they look the same as the Goa, but they stand out, intentionally so. These ones are, well, let's say a little more aggressive. They work as a team better, from what I've seen. I got a pack of, 4 of them, taking on some of Svarku's guys. Real dirty guys. Definitely, if you guys head south of here, be real careful. Keep an eye for traps. They tend to put spike pits in the absolute worst locations. Just make sure you're looking over the horizon. They will catch you and they will kill you just for sport. They effectively gain nothing from it. I don't know if they're trying to prove themselves or what. And then I know nothing about the other group. They seem a little more, well, from what I've seen, relaxed. I think they're called the Hiru. They have, from what I've seen, blue scales. Yes, I know nothing in terms of detail, just what I've seen. Needless to say, speaking with them would be, difficult, putting it lightly. Yeah, and Ruben kind of, yeah.
If we want to get off the island, apparently that's what we're going to have to do.
Well,
Not much choice, I guess.
are all 3 clans against Svarku, or any of them with him?
That I don't know. And Ruben Speak Up says, I'm honestly not sure. From what I've gathered, or from what we've seen at least, the Goa tend to stick to themselves. The Arva, God knows what they're doing. They're much further south of here, though. You most likely won't run into them. The Goa, you might. I honestly think they're just here for glory, or whatever reason. I don't think they're native here, at least. That most people aren't and shouldn't be, to my knowledge. I've heard some things about the ogres and where they came from, but, well, talk to certain folk, you hear one thing, talk to the others, you hear something else. Svarku's might have something different to say about them.
And the Kiru?
I don't know much about them, unfortunately. They seemed a little more chill, a little more relaxed.
Where are they in relation to the Goa and Urvu?
Well, they're all south of here. The 2 clans you might get along with are more southeast. If you head southwest, you'll most likely run into the Arva. I mean, far southwest, like the edge of the island. It'll take you a while to get there. Maybe 20 hours from here? 16?
Okay.
I would just be a little careful. From what I've gathered, they kind of stick to themselves. I don't think they like Svarku either.
Well, then we could potentially use all 3. Yay.
Honestly, I don't think I've met anyone on this island who actually likes Svarku.
You'd be surprised. He, from what I've heard, has a way with words. Most of his men you can't even speak with, so good luck getting an audience with him.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, what are they called? Salamanders? Something like that? Yeah, the big snake-looking things. I can't understand a damn thing they're saying. It sounds like a fire.
Pretty accurate.
There's definitely some emotion behind what they're saying.
Yeah, I can feel a little bit of it. Rage, probably. I'm going to kill you. The other, if that's an emotion. Not a fan.
Yeah, makes sense. Fire elementals,
Yeah, and if they work for him, they don't need to use words. We can see what they do. And, Ben and I don't really vibe with that, so we prefer to stick to ourselves.
Well, don't stick to yourselves for too long. Like I said, the ship ain't staying here for long.
True. What is your plan to get off the island, though?
Don't know. We'll figure it out.
Why do you need to talk to the lizardmen? Do you know if they can help you off, or?
The ogres want to attack them. They just see more numbers.
Oh, by the way, they're planning on striking at Svarku?
Yeah.
We've heard them whispering about it, but...
One of their sub-clan leaders is...
He's definitely not a clan leader.
Would-be clan leader is intending to start a revolt.
Could be problematic.
Yeah.
More than likely.
Probably best if that doesn't happen either, honestly.
From what I've heard of Svarku, I don't prefer the way he operates, but I'm not telling you guys to side with him or buddy up with him. From what I've gathered, yes, his men will go out occasionally and attempt to butt heads with the ogres, but Ben and I haven't really seen much violence recently. Seem things to be, from what I've seen, toning down a bit. I don't know if he's gotten lazy or if he found what he was looking for or found new labor. I really have no idea, but...
That could be a good or bad sign.
Oh, very much so, yeah. I mean, less violence is always good. If you get caught in a war, yeah, you die, no one's going to notice. That's why we're hiding down here, at least for now. We have a few hideouts like these.
Good to know.
Smart.
But yes, we might head down that way. We do have quite a few things here, but we'll take your word on it. I assume she's not planning on leaving soon in the next week.
I doubt it.
All right, then we got to.
Unless something very big falls from the sky and crushes Svarku. No.
I'm not sure I'd rule that out, but yeah, that would be really convenient.
God, that'd be useful.
Yeah. Other than that, do you guys have any other questions for them, or as you guys are kind of sitting here and eating?
So what's up with the creepy tree up there?
The one we found you guys next to?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, kind of speaks for itself, I'd say.
I mean, everything seems to avoid it, so we followed the lead, but
Yeah,
it does make you curious, doesn't it?
it's odd. I've not gone to touch it myself. Whenever I get close, it tends to move the bones around in a very strange pattern. I'll be frank, it freaks me out a little.
What do you mean it moves the bones around? It doesn't try to attack you?
Maybe it's trying to attack me. Maybe it's trying to, pretend to be alive and trick me to get closer so it can kill me. I really have no idea, but I didn't stick around to hang out and find out. And Ben agrees.
I mean, what makes you think it's trying to make you believe it's alive? It could be alive. I've seen weirder things.
Yeah, a lot of things on this island are alive.
True. But, well, we've survived this long on account of being careful, not talking with potentially sentient trees.
Can't argue that. What are other dangerous creatures / plants on this island we should totally avoid?
All of them, preferably?
Yeah.
I mean, all of them?
I mean, you guys seem to be pretty buddy-buddy with the Night Axe, so I guess that's one issue you don't need to worry about. The Fuegonauts, I wouldn't touch them at all, if being entirely honest. Most of the animals here, not all, but most, probably want to kill you in some way, shape, or form. I would just in general be careful. There aren't many nice things here to, put it bluntly.
Even the nice things are annoying, honestly, like bubbles.
Yeah, there is a couple, from what I gathered, elementals floating about. Some, well, they just...
Poor bubbles.
I don't want to say speak, they more just kind of make noise. I ran into an earth elemental the other day, just followed me around and, well, did that annoying grinding sound. And yes, why are you mentioning bubbles?
He purified my holy water.
Oh, the little water guy floating around.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got us too. I had some alcohol and he made it water.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's rude.
Very much so, yeah. He motions to the area around him. When our ship crashed, we, tried to take as much as we could, and that explains all the chairs. And the shelves. But yeah, I mean, there are various snakes. There's some things in the water I'd probably be careful of. Anything you guys run into? And anything in particular?
Like, I was just going to start listing off random things they've encountered. Lots of
Just
centipedes,
everything.
lots of boar.
Okay.
Apparently a massive boar-like thing in the cave. Apparently an even more massive boar-like thing in the cave.
Okay. You mentioned the middle boar thing, and he goes, did you say it had skin in its teeth?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. I know what that is. Not a boar, by the way.
What is it?
Well, whatever it is, it's dead now.
It's called a flay fiend.
That
And
sounds
it's gross.
horrifying.
I mean, yeah, you killed it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we actually have some meat from it on us.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, yeah, my leg!
Strawberry looks in her bag, and there's just a leg in there.
I'll pull
whole
it out. Who's hungry?
I think I
Ben-
also
Amazing.
cut off one of the tusks, right? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Ben and Ruben look at you like, well, considering we're currently eating sarabi, I think we're good. But you can keep that for yourself and cook it later.
All right.
Probably, when did you get that?
About 8 hours ago at this point. Was it 8? No, we had a long rest in between.
You mind if I start cutting it up and trying it out?
He motions to the fireplace. Go for it.
Oh, get to it. Don't need to roll. I'm probably very bad at it.
I think I did it last time, don't I? I have cooking utensils you can use.
All right.
Yes, they have the whatever you would need, realistically. I would say probably just roll survival.
All right.
Knowing how to cut something up.
I
figure it
mean,
out.
it's just a chunk of leg meat, so I'm sure I won't mangle it too bad.
Yeah.
We can also always use Aldrin's new fancy sword for it, I guess.
Whoa! I did like a pro.
Yeah, you have ample time, Sarabi. So realistically, you run into not too many issues, and you're able to... How do you want to cut this thing up?
Into dryable strips, I guess. Since
Okay.
I'm probably gonna make jerky out of it. I may be cackling like a maniac, just FYI. Because
While you're cutting?
She
This is
isn't
going
using
so
utensils,
well,
she's using her
yes.
claws.
I'm like, this is easy. Why did I learn how to do this earlier?
All right, they're potentially ignoring your cackling as you're cutting into this leg. You're doing it well, so they're not going to really question it, but still giving you an odd look. Ruben speaks up and says, the three of you don't really seem like the shoot first, ask questions later type folk.
Not normally.
I mean, I'm a merchant for trade, you know. It's usually bad for business if you kill someone before you can trade with them.
Precisely.
And Aldrin's a rich boy. I don't even know if he knows how to shoot first.
Well,
Wow.
There
which
is,
leaves out you.
yeah, there's one. Ben and I heard the ogres calling it a spine dragon. It's quite large. Well, the last one we saw was, 13 feet long? About that? Yeah. It's a very dense creature. It's about as tall as you, probably, Lekka. It is mostly, from what we gathered, peaceful. It just kind of minds its own business. If you leave it alone, it'll leave you alone. I've seen someone try to pick a fight with it, and, well, after taking a hit or two, they must have pissed the creature off because it tore him in half.
Cool.
So just leave it alone. If you see a very large creature that's got, I don't think it's actually metal. It's scales, plates, whatever's on its body. They kind of gleam in the sunlight a little bit. But if you see something like that, it's
Does it actually look like a dragon?
I don't think the ogre's ever seen a dragon before. So in my opinion, no.
Is it more lizardy or something else?
Yeah, a little more lizardly. Yeah.
Maybe it's a relative.
Yeah, possibly. Usually hangs out relatively close to the volcano, from what I've seen. Just kind of eating, doing its thing. Other than that, yeah. Keep away from the bugs. Look out for frogs. Should be good.
Frogs.
Yes.
I
Poisonous.
haven't encountered any of those yet.
I mean, poisonous frogs. They're just kind of
all right.
right. Yeah, they're just sort of
There's
in.
dragon swords off, that's fine.
Yeah. Now Ben thinks he saw. What was it? Dude, a frog made of gold? No, it was crystal. I swear, like crystal. I wasn't seeing things before you say anything. I swear to whatever god you believe in. Little tiny crystal frog hopping around. Tried chasing it, but it escaped.
Okay.
Only seen one, and well, Ruben's ever seen it, so he doesn't believe me.
Alright, this island's weird. I believe you.
Thank you.
As long as there aren't any massive 5-eyed snails around, I'm okay.
Not to my knowledge, but I'd keep a lookout. We don't adventure too much. Like I said, try to keep safe.
Alright. Thanks for all the warnings.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said, for the most part, sort of keep this location to yourself. If you have any other compatriots that are wandering the island that you trust, preferably try to meet us walking around first before you show any of our, safe havens to them.
Sure.
I mean, for obvious reasons, he and I are on guard, so.
Oh, yeah.
We've run into a few folk that are less than trustworthy, let's say.
I also wouldn't say that everyone who came on the boat with us is trustworthy, so...
I mean...
Oh, definitely not.
If you're here just for adventure, I can guarantee you people are here for worse. Something I'd rather think about, so let's just hope they're not as bad as we assume. Other than that, yeah, you're all more than welcome to go. We're probably going to head out here in, hour or so?
Oh!
Yes?
You want to see something cool first?
Sure.
Aldrin, teach me another word.
No.
I'll pull up the book and show them the page I learned.
Ruben and Ben have mostly cleared
Don't look
the
at it.
table.
Don't look at it.
They're looking at you, Aldrin. Why?
Just don't.
No, it's cool. Look at this.
I walk away again.
Aldrin, you said you'd teach me another word.
Nope.
I'm never going to learn Elvish at this rate.
All right. They both seem interested. When told no, when told don't, most people want to see. So you whip out the sexy Elvish pop-up book. You say your word, and like starting a fire, it takes a couple, but on the third or fourth attempt, a display of sexual deviancy erects itself. Sure, we'll use that word. Why not? It's appropriate here. And plays out in front of the two, and they both kind of look and go, oh. And they both have a good laugh, and they look at you and say, where did you find that?
Did you see the Elvish naked statue on the eastern side? It was right near that.
Underneath it, actually.
Underneath it.
Just buried?
Yeah, dug it out.
I mean, it was next to a corpse, so probably shouldn't be. I've never cleaned it, have you?
Of course I have. I have definitely fondled it.
That's a way to put it.
That's a choice word?
It was a choice word, yes.
I am now running away.
Touching the dead body's corpse.
Thank you for sharing, Sarabi. Definitely very interesting. Is that all it does? It just shows that they're both looking at each other and like trying not to laugh at that?
Not exactly.
All right. Definitely seems interesting. Well suited for you.
You have no idea.
You seem to like it quite a bit.
It's her thing.
Only when
you get used to it, honestly.
Damn it.
Then they actually clearly kind of have fun laughing at this, and they can tell if you were this excited to show them your dirty little sex book, you guys are probably good people.
Is that how that works? I don't know if that's how that works. I feel like the opposite could be very, very possible.
Could be true, but she's not.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah, but she's not being like maniacal about it or creepy in a way of, you know, murder. More so just like, hey, look at this funny thing I found.
I'm gonna wear your skin.
Yeah, precisely. More so sharing a joke with a friend.
You know what's even more funny though?
Yes.
You're the only one that wants to be able to read it. You're the only one that can't.
Please don't remind me. One day Aldrin will teach me.
One day.
Being weird about everything.
Now I have this ritual which would allow you to read it. Sadly, I can't cast it in you
Why not?
because it's only on myself.
Oh. I'd prefer to learn it anyway, just so I don't have to have that spell on me all the time.
He had a mark for his church, right? Or his organization? I don't know.
At one
Oh,
point,
yeah.
yes.
Could I find out what it is?
There was once a mark.
Is it just
It's-
gone? Okay.
yeah, it's so the part that stood out was the fact that he ripped it off.
Okay.
Now that his outfit is a bit cleaner, thanks to you, it's even more obvious. But you know, all the time, it doesn't really seem to be bothering him too much. Just
I mean,
kind of there.
does like his outfit itself strike me as anything that I would recognize? Or
Oh, very much so. Yeah. You notice that he was probably once part of some holy order, but you just don't know which.
it might be the same one that Dale is part of.
It definitely looks different. Same style, we'll say. All clerics and paladins probably shop at the same store, but
Probably.
Wow.
different sect, most likely. You could only be 1/4 offended at that, Aldrin.
Wow. I don't
Sarabi
think that's how that works.
Sarabi can be 100% offended. She has 4 levels in cleric. All right, cool. We will indeed say it's around 4 or so a.m. By the time you guys pop your heads out, you guys can continue eastward. You can look around here a little more. Totally up to you.
Before we leave, I'm gonna say, just remember, what's my name? Sarabi.
Oh my
Aldrin.
god.
What's my name?
Sarabi, Aldrin, and Lekka. Remember our names for when you tell Ma Martel we sent you.
They smile and nod at that and says, most definitely. We'll use your names if we end up down her way. Does she have
All right.
lodging for enough people? I sort of assume. Well, I guess
It won't be free,
I didn't assume so.
but I'm pretty sure she'll make room.
All right, well,
I mean,
we'll consider it.
Once you'll see the ship, you'll understand.
Yeah, and I'm sure she'll probably wring out every bit of information you can get out of her, so be prepared for that too.
If she pays us, I'm fine with it.
She probably
She'll
will.
definitely pay.
Especially since you've been here a while.
Good.
All right, then I will. I'm gonna real quick. I'm gonna give them both a peck on the lips and run out.
Okay, good
Oh,
old
God.
French greeting.
Mhm.
They kind of give you
Taking
a
a quick nibble.
yeah.
A quick nibble.
Okay, they kind of like not unsurprising. You kind of lean in and they okay, yeah, sure. They can tell this is probably your custom, and they return and then kind of give you a wave, and then to Aldrin and Lekka they say it was a pleasure meeting you. Yes, thank you for not being some other
I think
folk
I'm
we've met.
gone at this point.
Okay, that's fair.
I will point out to them.
I just kinda left.
She's never done that to anyone else before. I think she tried to eat you or something.
They look back to you, Lekka, and say, "We'll
There
keep that
are two
in."
lovers right in front of me. There must be some sexual tension in the air I can nibble on.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
probably
just
fine.
just being near them, you're like getting the ozone.
Exactly.
yeah, precisely.
Breathing in some of that delicious, like food fume.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's like walking by like a
I mean,
food
that
cart.
might actually make her more hungry though.
Yes.
True, you're only getting to smell it. When I walk by a taco cart, I don't just go, "Wow, I'm full." No, I
If
get angry
only.
and want tacos. I know, right?
If only the world worked like that, that would be great.
Give me
It
smell-o-vision
would.
on my TV. I'll just like
Exactly.
food channel. Anywho, y'all hop out. Early morning is starting to roll in, leaving their little abode. You guys can smell the fresh air of the jungle, and it is now once again open to you.
All right. So where we're located now, if we go this way, is that going to take us towards the mountain or continuing around the mountain?
Southwest would take you around the mountain.
So then that's the way we want to go.
Now, if we move west, though, we'll be at the edge of the island.
Are you saying you want to go to the west all the way?
I mean, we do know there's one clan there, right?
More of their kind were there, correct?
Do we want to introduce ourselves, or
I
would that be
don't
dangerous
know.
without a guide?
I mean, we could probably name some names and they would know that we aren't randoms, I guess.
Alrighty, is that our intention? Moving westward? Why do I want to say east so badly?
Westward.
I don't know.
Brain, no worky sometimes. Already moving about as you guys push through this jungle further and further. You know that a camp is just up ahead. You can hear various folk moving about and such. But before you actually reach said camp, you see a creature that you have not gazed upon before. It seems to be sleeping. One of them is resting on top of a rock. The other two are to the left and to the right of the rock.
The hell is that?
Precisely.
Oh, nice.
It's approximately
Nice.
4 feet tall. It has a stout, bony, ridged body. As it's sleeping, it kind of like flicks its tongue out, and you can see it has a very, very long pink tongue. It looks incredibly reptilian. Its head does, at least. As it moves and shifts, you notice that it doesn't have 4 arms. Instead, it has 2 very large hooks.
I'm gonna.
That's not one of those spine dragons, right?
I'm gonna sketch it real quick.
Okay.
We'll ask someone later. Can we walk around?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you just see 3 of them sleeping. They're relaxing.
I'm just gonna stand next to them and cast Identify on them.
They are.
No, I'm definitely not doing that.
They do be creatures, though. And as you shout out your incantation, they devour your soul. No! My head! I needed that! Anyway, we indeed move forward. It should already be dimmed, so your guys' eyes should not explode. As with the other map, your tokens are going to be much larger than they actually should be. We run into what you guys know to be Horsehead Encampment. You initially see 7 large huts that are nestled against a 60-foot-high outcrop of black basalt, right where the tree line fades into the black sand beaches, which is effectively where we are, because we are now on the upper left quadrant of the island and the edge of the island. You guys can smell the ocean from here and see the shores lapping up against the black beaches. On the south side of the camp, much of the jungle has been cut down and cleared away. There were stumps of once mighty trees that peak up through an abundance of leafy growth. The deep trenches run from the clearing of the sea, and there's a number of smaller natural basalt columns that can be seen along the beach side. All these little rock things here you can see in this little like water zone. These are all little sort of like basalt monoliths you can jump on to cross the river easier.
Those are teeth, Hub.
Or their teeth. They could be teeth too.
You can't see
And
that
there's a
from
bunch of
this
stumps.
angle.
This is a face. I hate it.
Everything is teeth.
It's called boar's head
That's
because
the
it literally
mouth.
looks like a boar.
Yes.
Those little teeth.
Yeah,
The hut over there is the eyeball. You got your nose
pig
and
nose.
his hair.
Yeah, pig nose.
It's a face.
They like pigs.
Yes, but you don't know
It's not
that.
a pig face.
He's big.
It's a boar face.
It's more like a monkey. I hate it.
No, it's
Oh
definitely
my
a boar
God.
face.
Incredibly
You
rude.
smell like a monkey.
Oh, you take that back.
No, she did.
No.
Not anymore, though.
No, she smelled worse than a monkey before. Much worse.
Can't deny that.
To be fair, between the 3 of us, you're the closest related to monkeys.
So this is jumpable?
Yeah, obviously, of course, before you guys are able to approach, you are met by a few ogres, and they kind of catch you guys effectively at the edge of the camp, and they look at the 3 of you as you approach, and they ready their weapons, just kind of staring you down. You guys are maybe, we'll say 50, 60 feet out, and they're all kind of just watching you.
Hello. We're friends of. I'll list off a whole bunch of names. We wanted to come say hi because you're the sister clan, brother clan.
They narrow their eyes and look at each other. One walks forward and says, "What's your name?
Sarabi,
How about the other 2?
Lekka, and Aldrin.
Hello.
Small wave.
A good thing you make friend, or no need to discuss that. Sure. Someone here knows you.
Really? Who?
Srock.
The one that tried to murder me.
Oh, Sirok's here. Okay.
Yes,
Oh, Srock's here.
he lives here. He was visiting other camp.
That makes
Oh,
sense.
makes sense. He is a merchant.
Yes, he arrived last night.
Ooh! Oh, that means I could give him the painting like I promised I would. Would you mind taking me to him, please?
He shrugs. And then as you guys kind of head this way, he says, he mentioned Small Fox Girl was working on something for him. You that
Mhm.
person?
That's me.
Oh, okay. As you guys move forward, this trench-like area, it's about 40 feet wide, and as you kind of like peer down, you see that the water is actually running fairly deep. It looks to be the trenches there are about 30 or so feet down. The standing water itself is only like 2 to 3 feet deep, but it does kind of fall down. The basalt formations that are coming up, if you were to fall down here, you would hurt a wee bit. And you notice that there are various bones and such of salamanders that are on stakes and also just kind of nestled between the teeth. And he kind of like hop.
From the image of the hex map, they probably have a lot of fun when they tie lizards to the rocks and watch them drown.
Probably.
Yes. It's a damn party here. But yeah, he sort of shows you the best route to hop across here.
Hop.
And as he's looking at y'all, he says, "What brings you here?"
We're heading south due to Bavmorda directions, and we saw you nearby, so we thought we'd say hi.
Okay. They sort of nod at that. And he heads over to the left side of the camp. This general area. You guys see a very large bonfire. You can tell that they definitely run upkeep on this thing. A lot of the wood has like grown white, but they are not letting it die. So there's always someone kind of stoking the fire and giving it a nice poke, if you will. You see many heads of boars just kind of surrounding this little encampment area, just stuck on spears. Looking sort of around, you can see, unsurprisingly, a lot of the stockpiles that Srock and company brought over here. They're all stacked up and whatnot. There's some nets. Once again, there's some like blue cloth canopy, some tables. Most of them are clean and whatnot. And he's kind of moving some things about, getting product and such ready. And he sees you all from a distance and kind of narrows his eyes. And this ogre walks up and says, "Oh, your friends you mentioned from the other camp are here." "What?" And he kind of looks around and goes, "Ugh." And he sees the three of you hop on over.
Hi, Srock.
As he goes to greet you and says, "Where's my painting, Sarabi?"
I will pull it out and show it off, and I'll whack my tails happily. Here it is.
Okay. The tone he gave you was very like mocking, like, of course it isn't finished.
I may look a little smug.
He gives that pause and goes, "Huh?" And he leans down as he is much taller than you. He takes it from your hand and looks at it and says, and like holds out like a map, looking down and goes, "What is this?"
It's my painting.
"What's it of?"
Paint.
Have you never met Bavmarda?
"I've met her, of course I have."
Well, what's it look like then?
He turns it to the side and turns it and says, "Is the little one?" And he points to Lekka.
Yeah. She's teaching him something.
"So the three of you got along then?"
Yeah, she's great.
Good. Well, this should bring in more customers, you said?
Should attract attention, yes.
It should attract attention.
He narrows his eyes. All right.
Whether they become your customers is up to you.
Well.
Wisely spoken.
Good. And he smirks and says, "I think I like it."
I wag my tail some more.
He moves over and places it on one of the tables. "I'll display it here. If you want to make another one for the other encampment, I won't stop you."
The same one or a different one?
"A different one. Surprise me."
Sure, you got another canvas?
He thinks for a second, and he motions to the other ogre, and he kind of like plods off to grab a canvas and then hands it out to Srock. Srock takes it from him without looking at the ogre and hands it out to you and says, "I do. I have plenty."
Excellent. All right, I'll figure out what to put on this one.
Make it Shrock's face. So everyone will know who Shrock is.
That one I could actually do business, yeah. Shrock store. Need anything? Has everything.
Yes, we'll make Shrock a brand. Shrockmarked.
He's not sure what you mean by that, but
Shrockmarked.
he smiles widely. He's like, "Okay, cool. I like the sound of that."
I better sit down and start sketching his face.
"Well, what are we up to? Wasn't expecting to see you here at the camp."
Oh, we just wanted to say hi. You know, make our faces known around here so that no ogre accidentally attacks us while we're walking by.
"Well, you're a trusted friend now, so that shouldn't happen now, should it?"
Cool.
And he kind of looks back down at the painting.
Bad about that.
And he smiles to himself looking at the painting. It's a little scary looking, Sarabi, but you know he's not like it's
the
more like
smile is
slightly, yes.
That's fine. A content customer is a content customer.
Okay, he nods again and kind of folds it. "Well, just passing through then."
Yeah, Oh, by the way, what is
More
this
to
thing?
ask us to help her out, getting some more allies for the campaign.
Indeed. It might be difficult, but well, we're moving at the pace we can.
Whip out the sketch I drew of that thing that was sleeping.
All right, he sort of leans down to look at your little sketch, scratches at himself, and says,
Where'd you see this?
We're outside the village?
Did you fight it?
Hell no.
Probably smart. That's a boneback Wydar.
What?
Did I stutter?
No, sir.
You
What?
don't know what a boneback whiter is? Question mark.
What exactly is it? What does it hunt and what does it eat? And yeah.
Us and
Yeah.
us.
Precisely, it eats slower prey.
Okay.
I'll be honest, everything on this island eats itself. It's somewhat entertaining.
How does anyone survive on this island?
Good question.
By eating the things weaker than them?
Correct.
I mean, that's generally how nature goes.
Bit more fishes on this island now.
Did you notice its...
and he kind of points to his back.
Did you notice its spine?
I did, yes.
That's why we call it that. It's all bone hanging out. It's disgusting and I love it.
Ooh.
Wait, doesn't he also have bones sticking out?
In places, yeah. This thing's whole spine is basically outside of its body, though.
Like, I will kind of look at the, like, his spots that are bones sticking out and go, like, I can see why.
He nods.
All right. Well, don't go anywhere near that thing.
Correct. There's another type similar to it. Rather than being covered in bone, it's covered in crystals.
Doesn't look like a frog, does it?
No. It looks the same as the one you saw. Does it look like a frog to you, Lekka?
No, but apparently there's also crystal frogs here.
I've seen frogs, yes. Crystal, I'm not so sure.
Well, I'm sure it's something if it exists.
So you're all leaving soon?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, do you know anything about that tree that's hugging a bunch of skeletons?
A little. Why?
Dumb question.
there
Is it
anything special
dangerous
about it?
too?
Everything's dangerous here.
Oh, dumb question.
You can talk to it, though, if you wish.
It can
you
talk.
really?
Yes. It bores me, though.
Oh, what have you talked to it about?
He just kind of shrugs.
Nonsense. I'm not interested in that kind of... bleh.
Blee.
Yeah.
This island is so weird. All right,
I can
well,
understand talking to clouds, but talking to trees is weird. Definitely.
Precisely. Incredibly strange.
You know, druids are a thing, right? Those exist.
I mean, druids are incredibly weird, let's be honest.
Yes.
I mean, who the hell lives in the forest, like, forever? Talking to trees and animals, eating only plants.
You mentioned you're about to head out, Sarabi. He says,
Shame.
why?
Well, I guess if you have to go, you won't get to see the killings, but that's fine, I guess, if you're busy.
What killings?
Not too big of a deal. Some of Svaku's men came by and we captured them, tied them to the rocks. But if you're too busy...
Look at the guys. How do you feel about salamander steaks?
I mean, I do hope you aren't eating them.
Some of them you can probably eat, yes. We just want them dead, though. We're going to sacrifice them to Mogok.
Oh, it's a ritual.
he nods.
Wait, who the hell's Mogok?
Oh, God.
Oh, I'm
Ooh.
interested.
What kind of god is he?
God of vengeance. He gave us the power to fight back.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes, I'd like to stay.
Oh, if it won't inconvenience you, Sarabi, I guess you could
mean-
follow me.
It'll really only inconvenience the clan because this is however many hours it'll extra that'll take us to contact the lizard men.
fine.
But you know, no big
Honestly,
deal.
we need to take a rest anyway. We've been up for like more than 24 hours.
And
And there is
have we
actually
really?
Yeah, there is actually penalties for staying up long, so
There is, but when did you guys do your long rest? It was...
it was early morning yesterday, I believe.
I think it was at 12, actually. So basically during the next travel session, yeah.
Do we have to take a long rest, or can we do a short one? Like
It has to be a long one, I
like a
think.
half long, I guess.
Well, yeah, we can say you can do like a half long, just like a 4-hour rest, realistically. As long as you guys aren't doing anything
Will
too strenuous.
watching this ritual can it count as a half short rest, half long rest?
If you guys stay here till 12, yeah. Sure, yeah. So I'll say this: you guys can basically stave off exhaustion, no rolls. If you guys just chill here for about approximately 4 hours. No strenuous activities, no spell casting, just kind of relax.
I'm cool with that. I like
Okay.
learning about culture.
Alrighty.
I want to go around identifying shit, honestly, but
After you can poke things, but
sure.
yeah. But you all just kind of head on over, and you see, oh man, how many are there? There's like 5 or 6 very large basalt pillars that seem to be natural. There's a couple, and they seem to be about anywhere from 20 to 50 feet apart. And you notice hanging from each of them, there are white chains. You can tell from a distance these are not made of metal. And some of these basalt structures do not have an entity tied down, others do. I believe you guys have seen both types. You guys have seen the salamanders, and you've seen the little guys with wings. There are 2 salamanders tied down, and then on one of the pillars, there's 3 of the dudes with wings tied down.
We've seen the imps, and we've fought a salamander.
And, well, they're kind of just doing their thing, struggling. They're spitting curses. It just sounds like the flickering and the anger of a fire. Basically, I literally cannot make the sound because it's literal fire. They're trying to like spit, but they look very much exhausted. You can tell they are bleeding. They are already wounded. Rocks have been thrown at them. People are poking them with spears and such. They are having an absolutely awful time.
What language are they speaking?
No one knows. No one can speak to elementals.
Okay.
They just make noise and people interpret it. Basically,
Yes, I can't stop nerfing me.
well, for reasons.
Joking.
Yeah. Anyway, they're tied up and they're getting the shit poked out of them. And Srock is standing happily. He has a spear in hand as he's watching. You hear various other ogres shouting curses at them. As I said, throwing stones. Just kind of some like walk up and they kind of give them a hit. They have a gauntlet on or something so they don't burn their hands. But they are very much just essentially torturing these guys. And he's watching happily. And he looks to you, Sarabi, and says,
Do you want to throw a rock?
Nah.
Ugh.
Oh, I know something better, actually.
All right.
Do you have a barrel of water here?
he just kind of points to the ocean.
Do you need a barrel?
Preferably fresh water, but it works.
Yeah.
He motions for one of the ogres to go basically just grab a barrel, fill up some water, and then come on over. He puts the barrel in front of you.
All right.
I'm gonna ray of frost it so it freezes over a bit.
Okay. You do
No.
this,
I'll
and
break off a piece of ice and I'll stab him with one of these.
okay, as you're doing this, everyone's kind of like, "Rah, rah, rah, rah." They're like screaming and freaking out and throwing shit. They're really getting into it. As I mentioned, you can hear them like praising Magok. Magok. As they're doing this, one or two of them stop to see you cast the spell of like, the hell did he just do? And you like break off your piece, and as you get closer and closer, more and more ogres are realizing what you're doing, Lekka, and you meander on over and just like stab one.
Yeah, I mean, I was giving it to Shrok so he can stab one of them.
Oh,
with it,
you
but-
give him to Sirach. Okay, cool. Sure. They start to kind of quiet down as you hand him basically just like an icicle.
Basically, yeah.
He's
Nice
looking
sign
at
or
it,
something.
and he kind of like, his hand jumps a bit because it's cold, and he looks at it and looks at you and says,
What's this?
Well, stab them and find out.
he looks down at it, looks at you, and is like, what the hell? And he smiles widely, and he rushes up and just stabs one of the salamanders right between the eyes. It just screams out, and he kind of like drags it down its body, and you just hear like a sizzling as this thing is kicking and screaming, but these chains are holding it in place. And as he kind of pulls it out, you see its skin sort of just begin to fade as it sort of twitches and just dies. And he looks at it, and you can tell it's mostly melted, but he's just like, what the shit am I looking at? He throws the leftover at one of the other ones. It just screams, it sizzles, and he looks back at you and says,
What was that?
It's called ice. Apparently, you don't have a lot of it here.
What the hell's ice?
Solid water.
really
Very cold water.
They don't like it, apparently.
this smile, Sarabi, that you see does slightly scare you as he looks back at them. And he says,
Really?
Yes.
he licks his non-existent lips at that, so I guess he just licks his teeth and goes,
How easily can you do that?
This one I can do a few times.
and he looks to Sarabi and Aldrin.
Can either of
Sadly,
you make ice?
No, that's a different kind of magic than what I do.
You don't think so?
Sadly, ice does melt back, so it doesn't stay long. But
Yeah.
He notices that the one he threw is already melting on the ground near them because they are still letting off some heat, and he goes, ugh. And he looks at the part that you kind of melted, froze, sorry. Other parts around it are kind of like floating in the water, and they're starting to kind of, return to liquid.
Interesting. Have you showed this to anyone else?
To Tusk.
I've showed it to Buff Morta as well.
I think that more as well.
Did I?
I thought it was just.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I
you did.
told her about it at least, but
Yeah, you mentioned, she knows vices. She was like, oh no, what the hell? He was like, oh, yes,
Oh, God.
I'm aware, but I cannot teach them.
I think she expressed
Witchcraft.
concerns about not showing it off too much.
yes.
Well, you just showed it off at one of their rallies, so they, after the stab and after the throw, they just erupt in cheers. They're like losing their shit, and they're running around you like they're like,
Do it again, do it again, do it again.
I'll just freeze over an entire barrel.
they like, oh, like one picks up the barrel, like smashes it and like breaks into pieces. They're like, yes! They all start like grabbing ice and chucking it at them, and the elemental just freaking out. It's just burning their skin. One of the ogres, if you don't mind, like it kind of picks you up and he's like, yes, I love this thing.
Like I've gotten used to it at this point.
Okay. He's holding you up. He's like, oh, ice god, ice god, ice god. They all start cheering, ice god, ice god, ice god. And then Srock's looking at you, nodding like, yes. They all seem incredibly excited, and he puts you down and goes like, they're all smiling at you.
It does feel nice to be useful, doesn't it? For once in my life.
I don't know what that's like.
Someday. Aldrin, someday.
Maybe one day I'll be as cool as you.
Was that a pun?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I would never.
Yeah.
All right, looking back to the rest of the group, you can tell they're kind of finishing up the ritual of just like killing the shit out of them, and they just leave their corpses to hang there on the white chains. And he looks back and says,
Well, I hope that was enjoyable. Thank you for the ideas, Lekka.
Oh no.
Yeah. Like, it would be great if I could teach this to someone, honestly, but
We can maybe speak with the bone binders and see if there's something we can put together.
maybe. Is there any of them here? Or are they all in the main camp?
Currently, they're at the main camp for a meeting. They should be back by the end of day, most likely.
Well, we'll be down south with the lizardman for the next potential few days, so I guess we can swing by after that.
Yeah. Good luck with them.
It would be very useful if they helped out with our little problem.
If you see the green ones with the tattoos, stay clear.
The Goa, was it?
Those are the Arva.
Arva.
The Arva?
Arva, correct. They'll gut you before they'll speak with you. Don't get that mixed up.
alrighty. Besides that, Srock will let y'all guys go if you wish. You guys can walk around here. You can check some things out. They don't mind if you guys want to hang out. Totally up to you.
I mean, I guess I'll go around and say hi.
If there's any particular points, because obviously we can say while you guys are watching this, any of these numbers, if you want to know more about it. If I didn't mention it, I can mention it again, or I can clarify.
What's number 3?
3 is a bunch of leafy stumps. They're the deforested stumps. A whole bunch of small trees, lush. Wow, that's hard to say. Lush leafy ground cover. There we go. It's a little difficult to see, but as you kind of move yourself around a bit, remember those peppers? You see a few of those peppers growing there.
Oh.
Yeah, the spicy ones.
Delicious.
There are no monkeys taking them, though.
Are they like growing wildly, or are they...
They're intentionally growing them. The surroundings of this entire encampment, at least near the brush area, so out against 3 and 4 and 5 and 2, there are vines that you notice some of the ogres are kind of upkeeping, and these vines are somewhat alive. They're kind of wriggling about, and you can tell that they're intentionally doing all this.
Okay.
I mean, I'm gonna take a look around and see if there's anything interesting, but anything that looks like it might be magical or something, or it's like special or unique.
Yes. Where you currently are, Laka, you notice that there's something unique about the chains.
Identify.
Identify the chains.
There are plenty that are not currently housing a corpse, so you are more than welcome to do so. You sense the same magic that you sensed in the lock that you picked up.
Oh,
My lock?
Correct.
the bone binder lock.
You realize these chains are actually made of bone.
Hey, Srock,
Yes.
do you know what this thing is?
He looks at you and looks back to you like looks back at the lock and says,
It's a lock.
I mean, yes, but We found it in a boar cave. Any idea what it's for?
For locking things.
Well, that's useless, I guess. I'll walk away.
Okay.
Goodbye.
How do you open it?
He kind of like, why are you asking? Seriously? He leans.
With the key.
Are you still near him, Lecca?
Yeah.
He just touches it and it opens.
You just touch it.
Ah.
Wait, it didn't open for me.
Or me.
He shrugs.
You're not an ogre.
Must be an ogre lock.
Well, in that case,
Oh, that's
you
useful,
can,
I guess.
you can have it free.
Yeah, have a free lock.
And
A
he
lock for Shrug.
just kind of looks at it and is like, I don't know what type of lock. He gives it to one of the ogres. And it like, he will say he clicked it. And then as he hands it the ogre, it like pops back out. The ogre clicks it back in.
Well, that's definitely annoying.
Because when you want it to work, it's nice, but
Other than that, he walks over to the chains and he kind of, it takes an extra second, but he grabs two ends of the chain and you see the two links kind of like whoop as they like unlock from each other. And then he touches them back together and they kind of click back together. And he says,
it's how we keep them held down.
Makes sense. I guess these things won't work on them, and I'll pull out a manacle he has on him.
Well, that's metal, so they'll probably melt through it.
Oh,
Yeah, I can see that being an issue.
good point.
other than that, let's say you do see a few things. The leafy stumps you saw. There is a rather large lookout, which is number 4. Nothing really too crazy here. As I mentioned, there's a large boar head. Not as big as the dire boar, but it is pretty beefy.
I mean, is the lookout like free access?
Yeah, there's some ogres over there. You can tell that basically this is just, it's like a 60-foot high lookout point for some ogres kind of just chill. It looks relatively similar to the other lookout point that you guys saw between both camps. It seems the head that's on like this pike is actually infused with a magic to basically sound off an alarm. As you approach it, it doesn't go off. You can tell that if anyone were to meet it or the folk here in the camp harm, the boarhead would react by making a sound and potentially something else, but you can't exactly tell what. You think something would shoot out of the mouth, probably.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, you can see some like torches. You see a couple horns just for traditional, in case someone sneaks in. There's plenty of boulders for chucking at people. As I mentioned, there's fresh deforestation. There's the encampment you guys are at. We're here at the Killing Rocks. Yeah, that's essentially it.
It was 60 feet high, you said?
Yes. So walking up the.
That's pretty high, yeah.
Oh yeah. It almost goes above. It goes above, I'd say, most of the trees and such here. It looks like they kind of built this up with mud and various stones and such to get it as high as they can, so they can look out. And there's always someone on lookout from what you can tell.
I guess I'll take a quick look around and see if there's anything else in the distance that looks interesting or something. But
You can see just kind of beyond the horizon, in general, looking at the hoo-ha here. Somewhere in the distance, you can see more of the spider brushes kind of doing their thing. And a little bit further to the east, you can actually see what seems to be like an outcropping of just bones. Not the tree, just a pile of bones. And there's various birds flying in and out of that area.
I'm gonna send Daniel that way, assuming he survives and comes back. He can tell me what it's about.
Okay, we can say you sent him relatively early, a little while back, because it'll take a while to get there.
I think the only thing we haven't mentioned is 6 and 2, I believe. But 6 is just a camp, I assume.
Yeah, 6 is the camp. 2, so you can kind of see when you lean down, but in this trench, you sort of notice there's like an outcropping area near the edge where there's just no basalt. It just seems completely clear, and it's clearly segregated from the rest of this section. But looking down, you don't really see anything.
Ask a random ogre what's down there.
He looks at you and kind of just looks around and says, you don't need to worry about it. Just water.
Well, now I want to worry about it.
You can't just say that to someone.
He
Can't
doesn't
just
know
tell
better.
someone not to worry about something.
Yeah, he's kind of just chilling and minding his own business, blowing some horn. They don't really see the
Southern horn.
yeah, maybe not that, but
Not
Yeah,
yet.
there's plenty of corpses around here. We could harvest some southern horn for tusk.
Oh no.
this is true.
Why is this our objective?
No, definitely not.
That's
It's
the
one
meta
of
for
those it's one of those side quests you don't want to do.
yeah, exactly. It's the meta for grinding
It's just
experience.
too weird.
Yeah, you found the one side quest. It's the one repeatable side quest.
Bring me back 5 southern horns, please.
And you just keep doing it over and over. It's like, why does this give 1,000 experience?
You have to bring him 3,000 southern horns from all over the island, and he'll give
Mhm.
you like a backpack.
A backpack weaved from the horn.
No.
It
You're
grows
welcome.
it grows when it's warm.
Exactly. It can
Foreskin
hold so
bag.
much. It can hold so much. Yeah, if it's cold, it holds half.
No.
I hate this.
This is the worst.
Okay, so Lekka has curiosity. Sarabi and Aldrin, what are y'all doing?
I don't know anymore. I'm just thinking about foreskin bag.
I'm sorry.
If I go to the other side of the trench, like, can I see what's there better? Or
No, it just needs, you just see water flowing, and occasionally lapping up against the side. That's it.
I will alert Aldrin and Sarabi about it. There's something down there. I need to know what, because an ogre told me not to worry about it.
Oh, why would he say that? You're not supposed to tell someone that.
Exactly. They're hiding something.
Makes them more curious. And now I want to know.
Well, when no one is looking, you can lower me down and I'll cast Identify on it.
Just jump in, cast Featherfall.
That works, right? I mean, how deep is it actually?
30 feet deep down to the water, and then the water itself is about 3 feet deep.
That's not that bad.
Yeah.
Well, for you, maybe. That's like three quarters of my height.
I mean, I guess
Luckily, like I can swim, but
I will grab a rope.
the two of you just sit here and be like distracted, and I'll do this sneakily.
Okay.
I'll just be like, I'm fishing, guys,
Sure. Oh man.
with my rope.
All three of you roll me stealth. I just
I
want
mean, I'm just like sitting on the ground holding a rope. I'm not really trying to
Yeah.
hide it too much.
Yeah.
Act natural.
Sarabi's
fool.
just like talking loudly to Aldrin and alerting everyone.
So yeah. So you definitely would have gotten a 1 there, Sarabi. Technically, we're not stealthing, so you wouldn't have
We're just
disadvantage
being
there,
quiet.
Aldrin. Yeah. So you would have gotten a 20 there, or a 22.
Hey.
Lekka, you are
Yeah.
able to slowly like rappel down the side.
Yeah.
All right. You get 10 feet, 20 feet, and right before you get all the way down to the bottom, suddenly you see an entryway to the north-facing location in the small dugout. It is
Can I
rather
see anything inside it?
it's rather dark. Your eyes take a second to adjust, and you can see some seaweed that's like flowing along the sides, and you can tell this kind of leads back into a small little cave under their encampment. And you think you can see a light or two kind of flickering off the walls, but it's a good like 30 or so feet in.
I will adjust the rope so the rope goes in the cave. Can I do that?
Yeah, you can do that.
And I'll rappel down a bit further and disappear from the side.
Aldrin and Sarabi, as you're watching, you guys see Lekka disappear right before he touches down in the water. You sort of feel him like loop forward, which makes no sense, Aldrin, because he should be, theoretically, hitting against the wall. And then by this point, do you have the rope tied to you, Lekka, or?
I'm probably holding on to it. I mean,
Okay.
a tiny ass kobold tying
Yeah, so-
a rope around me would be annoying.
Right, so you're able to swing in, but of course you have to let go. But the rope is like in this little cave. So Aldrin, you see the rope leaning down and kind of just stopping in the water up against the
He'll
northern
be
wall.
fine.
Yeah, it's just sitting there. Do either of you react to him just disappearing?
He'll tug on the rope if something
Lekka?
happens, right? Yeah, it's
Lekka?
fine. It's fine. Don't
Stop
panic.
yelling!
Don't panic. They'll notice.
Your voice echoes back, Sarabi. You just hear the water lapping up against the side of the walls, but nothing else. As you sort of begin to climb forward, Lekka, you realize that there's indeed enough room here for realistically any of you to stand. Probably not the ogres. This would be very, very tight for them. The walls are packed with dirt. It's incredibly damp, and you see clay like running through the walls. There's water sort of just barely trickling down the bottom, and rather than it being like super, super muddy, the clay it's kind of keeping it hard because the water's flowing over said clay. So you can walk through here without like making a huge, huge mess. But you eventually walk down to the end of this hallway, and you see a spring. And at the end of this spring, you see what seems to be a bed made from that same red seaweed, kind of a little pile. Lying on this bed, and now looking up, you see a nereid? How do you pronounce that? Nereid.
Myriad?
It should be myriad.
No, with an N.
Myriad.
With an N.
Might be
Oh.
a Nareed.
Yeah, a water babe.
Oh.
Nereid.
Oh.
Nereid.
Nereid. There we go. One of them's.
Oh my.
Yeah, water babe.
Wow.
And she sort of sits up in this leaf bed, just looking at you like, what the shit? And she tilts her head to the side, just staring at you.
Sorry, didn't mean to intrude, and I'll walk back out.
As you head out, Lekka, she's like, wait, who are you?
I'm Lekka.
Are you a friend of the ogres?
I hope so, yes.
How did you get down here? Did they tell you about this place?
No, I felt something down here. And then they told me not to go here, so I got curious, you know.
As long as you're a friend, just keep this to yourself.
What exactly are you?
She just kind of looks down.
Like, is she like obviously made of water or something? Or is it like... I'm definitely like looking around at her, potentially trying to poke her.
She is obviously taller than you. She's about 5-ish feet tall, maybe like 5'3", 5'4". She has very smooth blue skin that is effectively just like it. She's not really made of water. Like she looks like she is until you get a little bit closer. You can tell that she basically has blue skin that kind of flows like water. Whether she's taking on a different form or this is an illusion, you can't really 100% tell. She has, as you can see, a very humanoid shape, but you can see kind of gills on her neck and like some fins on her jawline. As you get closer, there is something you actually see on the back wall, like right behind her. It's about a 4x4 painting that is just like plastered up against the mud, like up against the back wall. You can see that it's kind of buried in the mud a bit. The frame is incredibly ornate, made of some gold, with a really beautiful inscription going around. Doesn't say anything specifically. It looks like it's essentially just for show. And it depicts a burning city. She kind of looks to the painting, then looks back to you, and holds her hand out to the water. You can kind of see it make a small wall before you're able to get too close. Effectively, what this room looks like is it's circular. Her bed is on the far side, and like a donut, there's a hole in the middle, except in the hole is basically a little spring of water. And before you're able to get too close, she kind of puts her hand out and says, "Oh, you can hold there."
Now I'm even more curious now.
Do you say that out loud?
Sly look. Yes, and I'll give her like a look, like I'm half joking.
And she says, "What are you curious about?"
Well, first of all, what are you and why are you in this village?
It's complicated. I'm an Nereid. I'm here because of my somewhat complicated past. Somebody wronged the ogres. Somebody wronged my people. And well, they want revenge. I want revenge. Temporary truce, if you will.
I'll take a look at the burning city painting and go like, Svarku.
Nods.
Yeah, makes sense. Everything seems to revolve around him and this island.
It really does.
Well, if you have a revenge, then I guess we're on the same side, because I want to get off this island, and getting through Svarku is the only way, apparently.
From what I've been told, my kind cannot leave the island. Even if I were to jump into the water, attempt to swim away, something is stopping us.
Interesting.
Very. I would also appreciate it if you didn't mention, who happen to see more of my kind, that I'm here. They don't exactly know.
Even more interesting. As long as you don't tell the Oaks that I've been here either.
I'll keep your secret. Let's just say that I left on not the best terms. We all want to fight, but, well, some of us have more reason than others.
Nodding along.
She kind of she lets the water wall down a little bit.
If it's any consolation, it looks like we are going to deal with Svarku sooner rather than later. Of course, it depends on, well, whether we can find more allies.
If you've been speaking with Srock, that's not too surprising.
Srock, and also Puffmortar.
I've not met her, but I've heard they both are pushing for a rather, swifter resolution.
Honestly, everyone on this island seems to want to get rid of Svarku, so,
True.
Well, we'll see what happens with that.
She slowly nods at that. You can tell she's very much apprehensive. She doesn't look scared, but she looks ready to attack if she needs to.
It looks like my curiosity has been sated, so I'll take my leave.
She smiles, but doesn't really look genuine. She just says, "It was nice meeting you."
It was nice meeting you too.
As you head out, she sort of politely guides you along with a little bit of water to make it easier for you to get out.
He won't say it out loud, but now he's even more curious. She's definitely hiding something.
And as you slide to the end of the tunnel, you see the end of the rope just kind of hanging there. It's sticking out about like 10 or so feet.
I'll clamber back up.
You feel the rope pulled on Aldrin, And as he begins to climb back up, Sarabi and Aldrin, you just instantly see him again. Like he just popped back into existence.
It's weird looking.
Echo?
I'm very nonchalantly start pulling up the rope and backing up the stuff. Better if we don't talk about this in the city or in the town.
Okay.
Okay.
They probably won't like it if they know that I went down there. And I'll tell them about the weird watery lady that's down there apparently living with them.
Ooh.
And I'll also tell them that apparently she's hiding something down there. And I'm very curious.
Let that curiosity relax for now.
As for later. At least she seems to want to help getting rid of Swaku, so you know.
Yes, that is good to know.
And apparently there's also more of her kind around here.
Ooh.
Don't tell them about her, by the way.
All right.
If
Don't know
I
that we
forget,
know.
anything happened.
Nothing happened. I found this cool shit. Don't tell anybody.
There is no hole down there.
I guess we should leave before we draw any more attention.
Alrighty. Let's roll the luck of the Daniel.
Oh no.
Net one, I'll have to resummon him.
He just dies. For no reason. It just happens.
He just goes, pff. Could be better.
I think a 14's pretty good.
Oh, thank God.
Alrighty. After some time, your boy flies back, but he looks somewhat panicked. He doesn't seem to be hurt.
Well, that doesn't look good. Time to play. What's the game again? Charade?
Charade and 20 questions. As you kind of play this game with Daniel, he kind of motions to you, like he motions to himself, and then like, you know, I caught a big fish with his feathers, and he does it like big, and then he motions to himself, like big bird. And then after he does that, he motions, like he fans out his feathers, and you can see each individual feather pointing up, and then he like pokes his beak with each of them, saying like multiple big birds.
Like as you're like nodding along as the other two watch like what the hell's going on here.
Yeah, and then he points down into the water where all the bones are, and then points to the bones. So lots of big birds near a bone pile.
All right, good to know. Let's avoid that place.
He like nod, yeah.
All right, he'll turn around to Sarabi and Eldrin. All right, apparently there's a big pile of bones with very big birds that are very scary. We do not go there.
Huh.
I'm beginning to regret potentially coming to this island.
This island sucks.
Yes.
Seems to be the common denominator, yeah? Well, it's what you make of it. So let's go find the lizard people. And hope they don't want to kill us as well.
Vouch into that.
Maybe the lizard people do want to trade. Yes.
I mean, the blue ones, I don't know about those green ones.
Yes, let's avoid the swirly ones.
Well, we shouldn't run into them anytime soon.
Maybe we'll run into a rock.
I wonder how far south that other group went.
Alrighty, after having visited the ogres, where do you wish to go next?
That hex directly southeast?
Now we keep going west into the ocean. Let's go.
No thanks.
Into the ocean.
Now see, if I could cast ritual water walking, I would not have an issue with that.
Alright, like I mentioned, you're going to see things. Please do your best to ignore them.
No can do, Sir Bob.
Alright, well, prepare for this one because it's going to be really difficult to ignore.
All right.
Yes, that is a fat salamander with some beer.
I
Oh my god.
We're definitely going there.
that took a while for me to update. That's weird.
Yeah, same.
Wait a second. He's orange. He's the enemy. Damn it, husband.
Like I said,
And
pretend you
he's
didn't
a
see
salamander.
it. Pretend you don't see it. It's really
He's
silly looking.
adorable. I love him.
I know, I love him. He's great.
If he's a beer belly salamander, he might not be evil. He might be too lazy to be evil.
True, being evil is a lot of work.
It takes a lot of effort.
Also,
let's be
I
honest.
dare say that's an entrance into Zvraku's tunnel.
Yeah, like I said, pretend you can't see it. It's cute. I love this map, but do your best to not metagame, please. You can pet him if you want. You can very much pet my chubby salamander. I will let you do that. You normally people have to pay to put my chubby salamander. So,
Oh my god.
all right, heading southward, we once again push through more and more dense jungle. It'll be approximately 4 p.m. by the time we reach our destination, and the first bit that we stumble across seems to be on the lower slope. You guys can see from a distance. You really got to keep your distance though with this one, because you guys know this volcano means bad news. There's approximately a 10 by 10 hole. It's incredibly roughly cut. It does look like it was no precision instruments were used here. From like where you can see, there's sloppy chisel marks that kind of score the area around the entrance, almost as if they were working to enlarge it, but they kind of just gave up. Like they got lazy. It just stopped. You can see various Salimunduses kind of moving about, kind of in and out. And from where you guys are, y'all can see that the ground is muddy on the way out. There's a bunch of like broken rocks and such, and like one of the summoners like kicks the rock and like.
This was supposed to be the safe way around.
This is the safe way around. You don't want to see their way.
There's probably a lot of lava involved in the other way.
So upon seeing this entrance on the side of the volcano, what do y'all do?
First, I want to explore this thing.
Daniel can see it.
Right. So if you want to explore it, that is, another 4 hours of exploration to find the next thing. Now I can say with Daniel, if you want, we can explore that spot specifically.
I mean, we might as well explore something as we walk through, I guess.
It's starting to get late, so we might want to start looking for a place
we could
sleep.
explore 2 things and then set up camp somewhere.
That'll work.
All right. So with the help of Daniel, the next thing that you guys are able to find while pushing about and through the jungles of Hot Springs Island, you guys see a series of cracked and blackened slopes that are surrounded by lush jungles that overlook the ocean. Heat rises through small fissures in the ground. The entire area is covered by a fine layer of volcanic ash. There are clumps of a strange, like, reddish plant you can see that's growing in abundance from this distance. And there's a few very resilient ash-covered ferns. Just looks like a regular-ass fern that are just barely clinging to life amongst these really hot rocks, but they do not want to die for whatever reason.
And I poke that red plant with a stick?
Sure.
I too will poke the moss with a stick, except my stick is a staff that will cast Identify.
As you guys are beginning to look at this interesting-looking plant, I don't think... I'm pretty sure I can show it to you guys without... Okay. It might reveal the name of the item. You can try your best. Don't look at that. That'd be great. Otherwise, it's okay. They look like feathery, coppery plants, and they're growing, from what you guys can tell, nearest to the hottest areas of these mounds.
I swear if these things are called phoenix wings, or phoenix tails or something.
It's phoenix tails to you?
Phoenix.
Oh, God. I mean, if that's the case, then I'm definitely destroying them.
All right,
what do you mean? You did nothing wrong.
Are you hitting it with your stick? Are you guys poking them, or are you just looking at them?
I'm poking it.
Okay. When you poke it, it almost looks like a little bit of gas comes off of them. Like you hit it, and like tss, and kind of like slowly falls to the ground.
Like smoke?
Sort of like smoke.
Quick, Sarabi, breathe it in. It's healthy.
No!
It's a goldish color, kind of like a pollen, but it floats heavy, like lighter than a pollen. So it actually does indeed look more like a gas. It's kind of hovering around them. You can sort of see that the air around these feather-looking plants is golden nature now.
I'm going to take 2 steps back real quick.
Okay.
And look at the edge
I'll
of
just
the
gust
stick.
it away, honestly.
Upon doing this, you strike them, and you notice it releases a ton of this gas, but in the opposite direction. It just shoots this gold powder, just poof, in the opposite direction, just like floats off.
Considering it's fire colored, it's probably bad. Fire bad. Okay, well, this island is turning me into a coward. Can I take the biggest vial and, like, put it over a plant and, like, cut it with a knife and just close it in there so that the gas is also trapped inside?
I'll let you choose whether you roll survival or dexterity. Survival
Which am
would
I
be,
better at?
how do I handle this plant? Otherwise, dex is how stable is your hand. All right, going with the 13. You are able to very carefully get one of these into your vial. You do not seem to disturb it, Sarabi, so I'll go ahead and just add it to your inventory. It'll probably name it. Alrighty. Now that we have this bad boy captured, anything else you guys want to mess with here? You check the next area?
Yeah, check the next area.
Alrighty. The next thing you guys happen to come across as you guys are moving about to the next area, before we get there, you see 2 rather large snakes that are currently fighting with a centipede that is currently fighting, quote unquote, a vine. It's like wrapped up in it, and it's trying to like bite its way through, and these snakes are trying to like fight this centipede by itself. And they're like snapping out at it, but they're also trying to dodge the vines.
This is a triple fight?
It seems, yeah. It, from what you can tell, like looking at it, it looks like the snake was fighting the centipede, and they probably backed it into a corner, and then these vines like picked it up and grabbed it. But the snakes really want to finish it off, but they're like, oh shit, how do we get in there now? So you just see this like amalgamation of things just beating the shit out of each other, basically.
5 gold on the fine.
5 gold on the centipede.
I mean,
I
do you
don't
guys
have
even
money.
have gold?
On the centipede.
Lekka's the only one that has gold, I think.
She
No,
has,
I have 30.
yeah, she has 10 gold pieces on her.
Oh, I'm bidding half. Cool.
Why do I have 30? Where did I get 30?
You are a rich boy.
That's your
I didn't
allowance.
take anything.
You're
Or an amount
putting,
that I stole.
what are you betting
Wait.
on, Lekka?
Wait, isn't the speed
The
losing?
vine.
It's a single centipede that is being attacked by a vine, and there's 2 snakes trying to kill the centipede.
I'm betting on the vine. Always bet on green.
All right, always betting green.
Despite the fact that the snakes are probably also green, but you know.
Do you have any skin in this game, Mr. Aldrin?
I don't really want to gamble my money. I don't have a whole lot of it.
You gotta live.
Yeah,
Have
come
some
on.
Nah.
Where's the
Just have
joy?
fun between games.
Nah.
Coward.
All right, we're gonna precisely.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna roll some things, and whoever gets the highest is gonna be the victor. So we got 2 snake. So we got snake, the 23 and 11, and then you know what? Because
Some
the
low
centipede's
damage now.
getting its ass kicked, I'm gonna go ahead and roll him last. We'll roll the vine. Rolls a 19.
Centipede. Centipede. Centipede.
All right, centipede.
Ooh.
I'm
Well, okay. So the centipede rolled a critical failure.
I have nothing to say about that. Of course I roll a crit for the thing I'm betting on. I hate you, husband.
I'm just putting out my hand. Bam.
It's not even you rolling, and it was still a critical fail.
I will grumpily plant it in your hand.
You see these 2 snakes kind of wait for an opening. The centipede goes to strike, but unfortunately eats a dirt as the 2 snakes get a bite or 2 in, and then the tentacles just like wrap around it. And unfortunately, you watch this play out as your centipede just gets absolutely thrashed, Sarabi.
Worthless worm.
And then besides that, the creatures don't really seem to see you guys. The snakes were probably trying to get in on the centipede, but unfortunately, whatever this vine is, like pulls the corpse up into this tree and probably starts monging.
Monging.
And then as you guys are moving about, you come up to the last location on this hex. There is a rather large clearing here. Before the 3 of you arrive here proper, you all get a sort of a gut drop feeling. Something happened here. As a sense of foreboding surrounds us all, you see a clearing up ahead. There's approximately a 50-foot rough circle that is just burned into the jungle. It looks as if it were freshly blasted with super heated flames. There's still steam coming up. There are ashes, like mounds of ashes, still smoldering here. And through some of these ash piles, you actually see some small black glassy formations that are peeking up. And then there are other like glassy mounds and concaves and convexes.
Any bones?
No bones.
Okay. Avoid that.
Still smoldering, you say?
Yeah.
How recent was this?
If you wish to inspect it, you're more than welcome to do so.
Yes.
Uh,
Investigation, I guess?
as you get closer, Lekka, you realize that the act of whatever happened here wasn't as recent as you were led to believe. You feel a magic pulsing through the earth. Something different. And it's causing the ground itself to just not heal. Nothing's growing in this area. If anything, the jungle seems to want nothing to do with this patch of burnt glass and ash.
Well, what big magical fire-breathing creature do we know?
Svarku, probably.
Yeah, probably Svarku.
Or
Something
his
else.
pet dragon that he probably has. I don't know.
Alrighty, seeing that it's about midnight, did we want to rest around here somewhere?
Yeah.
If you guys have used any spell slots, you're more than welcome to trigger them. For reference, we are now on day 8. During this rest, the 3 of you share a dream or a vision.
Oh, God.
And as you fall into a deep sleep, you're met with darkness. You see some of the ogres. You see what seems to be salamanders and The little flying imp boys, and all that nonsense. You've very much seen them before. But it's flashing, it's rapid. And there's like a dark shaded vignette around your vision, and you're just blurs. And you're looking about. You see people trying to escape from a darkened room, and rushing and running. You hear yelling in a language you do not recognize. And you hear a voice that is loud and booming and full of authority. This you can understand, but by the time you wake, you don't remember any of the words. You remember the emotion, though. Anger. Although it is not your own, an emotion is forced upon you. It's fear. It's confusion. It's, well, maybe he doesn't mean it, right? He can't mean it, right? And suddenly you're standing in what seems to be a clearing. There are rocks, and there's plants and trees all around you. This massive, just hulking figure stands before you. You cannot see his face, but you know who he is. And you see his underlings surround him and surround you. More of the yelling. Initially, it's grandstanding. He's trying to prove a point. He's just being himself. And you look to your left, you look to your right, you see your brothers, you see your sisters. Along the edge of this clearing, you actually see an ogre you do recognize. You see Srock. You see other ogres you think you've probably run into at the other camps. And you notice that they're all being held hostage effectively. They cannot move. They're being, well, they're watching you. And you realize that you're actually tied down. You can't move. You can't stand and go to your brothers and your sisters. And as you look to your left and your right, you see ogre women. You don't recognize anyone around you. You recognize some of the folk at the edge of this clearing, but you do not recognize the person standing right next to you. And suddenly you look up to this hulking, red-skinned figure, and you feel burning. An intense burning. And then darkness. And the three of you wake.
So, did we have any of those ceiling flower juices last night? No? Okay,
No.
good.
Why do you ask?
Because I just had the creepiest dream ever.
Yeah, it's a pretty usual dream for me, honestly. Have them daily.
What did you dream about?
Apparently I was an ogre woman and was getting burned alive. Bit weird for my taste, but you know.
You
I
have
thought
those
those-
all the time?
Those specifically, no, but same theme.
I don't have stuff like that.
Getting tortured, being enslaved, you know, same thing.
Oh my
What's the
god.
difference?
Yeah, just a little bit of
It's
youth
like
trauma.
real
Fine.
life.
Yeah, you had the same dream as me. It's definitely weird. What about you, Eldrin?
Yeah, Aldrin.
Yeah, same one.
Definitely weird.
Hey.
Actually, where did we set up camp? Are we like next to the burnt patch?
I think we're nearby. Wait, do you think that's what happened here?
Might be.
In that
Let's-
case?
Check out the burnt patch and see if it looks familiar, I guess.
Yeah. And in that case, I want to kneel down at the edge and offer up some prayers to not my patron. Is it my patron?
It's your god. It's
Patron,
effectively
your
a patron,
god.
yeah.
You're not a warlock.
Got
My
warlock on
god.
the brain.
I mean, she might be a warlock at this point. Who knows?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Are you making this prayer
What's
from
the
the
difference?
the edge of the clearing?
Yeah.
Like Lega's gonna sneakily wander off and find like a pile that might have been something at some point and cast Identify on it.
Well, Identify doesn't do anything, but you probably realize upon closer inspection these are indeed the ashes of an ogre. They're large enough, but there's nothing left. Bone, everything, ash.
I will spend a good 10 minutes offering up prayers of please heal this land.
And as you look around, Leka, you actually, from the center of kind of where you're standing and like look at these ash piles, you kind of look outward and you notice the same view from where you were in your dream.
Can I find the exact same spot and find like the person I was?
Yeah, it takes a little bit of meandering and such. While she's offering up a prayer, and while he's kind of sitting in the center and kind of looking around, what are you doing?
I just kind of want to look around for anything interesting in this burned shithole.
You find essentially basically the same general situation that Leka's finding.
Wonderful.
while you're making this prayer, you hear a rustling at the edge of the woods. Somebody pushes through, and you realize it's indeed an ogre. Looks a little different from the ones that you've seen, though.
Slightly how?
And he's staring at your group, not entirely sure what's going on. And you notice he's carrying a very large weapon that is tipped in obsidian. He looks to it, and he looks to all of you, and kind of like, similar to Strock, he has no lips. So all of his teeth are exposed. You see various bone jutting from his shoulders. His knuckles have just massive bone fragments just sticking out. And walking towards you all, you realize that this specific ogre, if you guys recall, actually looks very similar to the ogres that were guarding the center camp, the other place where you just were. The primary camp. You guys remember how I said there were the very bony looking ogres that were standing there, but they were specifically standing guard?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He looks very similar to those.
Hello. Aren't you a little far from your guard tower?
He narrows his eyes and says,
I'm not a guard. What are you doing here?
Passing
He says
through.
as he shrinks.
and he looks at you prying and then sees the two of you kind of touching at the business, if you will.
I mean, not disrespectfully. I'm just looking around.
I know, but he's staring, like trying to figure out what the hell you're doing. Looking at the three of you, says,
Who told you of this place?
We found it quite by accident.
And then we had a weird dream.
he has his weapon drawn, almost in uncertainty.
What kind of dream?
Well, apparently we saw what happened here.
He narrows his eyes and looks around and kind of nods to himself.
Are you the ones that have been snooping around?
Pretty sure we've been pretty obvious, considering we've been to both villages.
Prove it. Who do you know?
That Marta,
Marta, Tusk.
Tusk.
What's the bone biter's name again?
Isn't it like Surok?
Searock or something?
Sunok.
Like I was just counting them out at this point, and there was the hoof guy.
All right, as you guys are counting down the names, like,
All right. I believe you.
Yeah.
Like I was gonna keep going and say, like, did you know that Tusk likes lower horns from lizards?
Southern
Weird,
horn.
isn't it?
he seems incredibly confused upon you saying that.
I don't know either. It's fine.
And he looks at Sarabi specifically. He points his weapon at you and says,
What were you just doing?
Praying.
To who?
Baracus? Is there also a god of, like, safe passage? Not physical.
"Oh, like to that would I mean that would
That would be the god.
you'd probably be treading old
Umbras
ground
Daddy.
then, and that would be depending on which side of that you care about the most, Sarabi, because your warlock attributed to a certain goddess for resurrecting them, Nesmir, and then she has gods under her that are death and undeath and all that extra nonsense.
So, Nesmir for generic?
I mean, she's just the goddess of life in general. Yeah.
I'll also send our prayers to her.
Okay, sure. He has not really heard of these names, and he kind of sneers, and he says,
What are they the gods of? What are you praying for?
I'm praying that these souls that died here find their peaceful ever after. And I'd appreciate it if you didn't sneer at my religion, because I'm not going to sneer at yours, Mr. Sir.
okay, that actually causes him pause. And he nods at that, and you can tell it's an apologetic nod, actually. He's like, shit, good point.
We were being respectful with your ritual to Mogart.
You mentioned that name, and he nods more like, yeah. That's the good one. And he kind of...
we all have our own gods, it's fine.
And he's kind of like, okay, that's fair. And he sort of thinks to himself and says,
As long as you respect this sacred ground, you're welcome here.
That's exactly what I was doing. This is a horrible place.
he nods very slowly at that. Running his hand along his weapon, he picks up some of the soot, and he rubs it alongside the blade of the axe, and he holds it in front of him, and he closes his eyes, and you can tell he's offering up a quick prayer. And then he nods to that. And he swings the axe, and he nods at that, like, all right, good. He seems stoic, and he looks at the three of you.
Good. It seems you're on our side. We need more allies.
That's what we're working on.
Well, apologies if I came off as undesirable.
Accepted.
Yeah, you did better than the Shrug guy, honestly. He just attacked us.
Hmm.
You mean me?
I was thinking about it.
Well, Aldrin's got it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I trust.
I don't.
Sad face.
He's getting a very mixed message. He was very much looking to Aldrin like, oh, he's your warrior. And then he's like, no. And you're like, yes. And you're like, no. And he's like, yes. And you're like, okay, maybe not.
I just give him a thumbs up.
He's not sure how to feel about that, but he goes like, all right, cool. If this small man is your beat stick, your strongness, then cool. I can respect that.
Can I make a face next to him?
Yeah, sure. He doesn't necessarily jump at it, but he kind of turns to like action. He doesn't draw his weapon, but he looks at it. He looks to you and sees they're the same. And he says,
What's this?
It's my little clone, my little buddy. He helps me fight.
Oh, that should be useful.
It's pretty useful. And then I'll swap places with him.
oh. He looks at the two of you and looks back to Aldrin, and he seems incredibly impressed. His eyes are actually kind of wide at that. He's definitely never seen this before. It's just,
Such magics. Interesting.
I don't know if I'd call it magic.
What else would you call it?
I don't know. I don't know if it qualifies as magic.
Can
I
it
can
be
do
taught?
magic too. I mean, I can try to teach you how to do it.
Well, if you happen to visit one of our villages again and see one of the Edsworn, let us know and we'll try.
Sure.
We will be swinging back on our way from hopefully successful talks with the lizard men.
Good luck with that.
Ugh,
Speaking of,
you all keep saying
you're familiar with this place, right? What's the safest way to get there? Past the mountain.
he kind of thinks to himself and turns about, facing southward.
Well, they're not one for conversation. They also tend to move about quite a bit. But
And he kind of thinks to himself and looks back to you.
which are you trying to speak with?
Preferably the Kiru.
And
And
if
after
not,
that, we
then
might try the
the Goa.
Goa.
Nods, and then he points southward. I'll just say the numbers for you. He's basically pointing straight southwest, effectively. So he's pointing in the general direction of 21, which is, I know you can't see it, but it's almost directly, like diagonally from you guys. And he's also pointing towards 17, which is relatively close. They're all kind of in the same area.
Oh.
Wow.
Try to stay away from Svarku if you can. You've been doing a good job eluding his charms.
I think that was the plan.
Yes.
Good. Well, I'm done here. Good luck on your little mission.
Thanks.
Thanks.
And he bows to the three of you and continues northward back towards the village. Alrighty, where would we like to go next? It is 8 a.m. in the morning.
Straight down, I guess.
Going the direction that he requested you go, we will end up in HS09, where we shall indeed pause.
Jose?
Pause is a lot of cool shit floating there. I am trying my absolute hardest to not reveal something. And if you turn around, Sarabi, you're going to see it. Don't you dare turn around.
Okay.
I see a little bit of it right here. Whatever
No!
it is.
Is it?
I don't want to see it.
I can't tell what it is, but I can see like a little
No,
tiny...
don't look at it. No, it's mine.
No, come back.
No,
I
it's
tried it, whatever it is.
mine. No, here. I'll do this for you. I'll do this for you. Here, ready? I'll make the brush real tiny for you, and I'll go like, boop,
Oh,
boop,
boy.
boop, 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 boop. What is it?
It's a beak.
Petting it.
You'll never know.
That's a good boy.
He is a very good boy. And then next week we will start on HS 0901, and I'll tell you what that is. Ho, ho, ho. And we'll pretend like we didn't see this thing that's definitely a bird beak and not something that scuttles.